Hi everyone, so we're going to actually take the useState example number 5 that I've recorded, and we're going to just add a few more logic handlings here just to fix the previous issue with the number. So as the previous example, there was an issue with the actual number logic. So if I rerun this, let me just end this server. And I'll rerun this so I could show you exactly what is going on again. Right here, when you start this, you'll see that it's just the text color of gray. And if we go to the console, nothing's there. If we click on it once, the number should be 1. Click on it twice, you can see the color changes on the background, but also the text. But this is actually supposed to happen at different times. So what I want some kind of timing, and I want to show you here in the console log what it'll actually look like. So let's just go here and add a console log to the number. So if we go back here and refresh the page, we click on it once. You can see here when we clicked on it once, the number logic just took too long to actually update this. So it looks like it starts at 0, but it's actually the number 1. And if we click it again, you can see there it's 1, but it actually is number 2. So we're going to fix this using actually a useEffect, and we're going to have to add another useState for this. So let's look at the logic here. So what we want to do is, because we want to add a useEffect, we actually have to import it at the top. So we have to useEffect. And what we want to do is, let's actually add some kind of trigger. So const trigger, set trigger, and we'll say that the useState of that is going to be false. And in order for this to actually work, we are going to set this up with the useEffect. So I'll get more into useEffect in another video, but I just want to show you how we can make the number logic work right now. So useEffect, we're going to add some kind of logic to actually render. And whenever you have a useEffect, it automatically just starts to run. But we're only going to let it run based on an if logic. So let's set up an interval. And if, let's say, trigger, the trigger at the top, if it is true, then we'll do something, because trigger is a Boolean value here. It's either true or false. Right now it's set to false. But here it's saying if it is true, if this is true here, then let's do something in here. So we'll do interval is equal to set interval. And we'll have to reference the handle change. And in this handle change, it'll run that again. And what we'll do is we'll set the trigger. We're going to set the trigger to false. Because I'll let you know why we're setting this to false. It's just because when we do an on click, we're actually going to also change this. So we're going to actually, instead of handle here, we put the handle in the set interval. So what we're doing is I'm going to replace this with the set trigger. And I'm going to make this true. And if this is true, then it will come here and it will check the if statement. It's true. And what it'll do is right here, we want to actually add also, because we have a set interval, we are actually going to have to add the seconds here. So in 3 seconds, then do something. So here, what we'll do is I'll actually display what's happening in the console.log as well for a number, and also console.log trigger, so we could see it when it goes true and false. So right there we got number and trigger. So then what we'll do is we'll return down here, we'll just clear the interval so then it doesn't get confused and keep running. So interval here, so since this is set here now to clear, then it should automatically go back to the default states. And what we want to do here as well is we want this to only run when trigger is actually called as well, or it's something to do with trigger. So we'll see this, I'll explain this more in another video on useEffect, but essentially what's happening is it's changing. So what's happening here is once it is true, it's going to make these changes in the set trigger, and it'll call the handle change to do something, and it'll take 3 seconds, and it will change after 3 seconds. And then the console log here, so what it'll do here is once this is true, it'll run, it'll check all these different methods or functions here, and what's going to happen after 3 seconds, it will go to the return and it'll clear the interval. Because now set trigger is going back to false, it'll make sure if the page refreshes that it's not going to rerun again, and it's not going to make this true. So in here, let's actually save this, and I will show you here what is going on. So let's refresh this. So right here, you can see here we start at 0. You can see here that we start at 0, and if I click add number, you can see it's actually correct this time, and it's 1. And you can see it took a little bit of time because of that set interval. So it was true, but then went back to false because of our logic. If we click on it one more time, you can see now it's actually displaying the right number. It's supposed to be 2, because remember in our actual logic over here, only if number is greater than 1, then display the div. And now that's actually showing us that it's the value of 2. This is actually correct now. So now it's actually showing us the right information on the actual browser. And the numbers are actually displaying properly now. It starts at 0. We increase by 1 each time we click. And then now after we do 1 click, 2 click, we have the number value of 2. And this is why the orange box area shows up. So this code will also be on GitHub, so you guys could reference it, and you'll be able to see how this is all set up in case you are missing any types of brackets and stuff. And I'll get into another video on how useEffect works in more detail.